Welcome everyone to another great Monday and another episode of Sanders Says. Today, I'm very excited about the guest we have, a friend of mine, person I admire, actor, musician, director, writer, just a visionary, entrepreneur. So I'm excited today to get him on the show, pick his brain a little bit, get some insight, and give you guys a little bit more perspective. This podcast, this is all about, our community that I'm building here. It's all about growth and mental health awareness, entrepreneurship, financial freedom. We dropping gems. We doing what we gotta do to leave our stamp um, on the culture right here, and tell these great stories, man, and get to know these great guests. So I'm excited today, man, to have a friend of mine, but also, like I said, someone I admire, Mr. Ty Hodges. I'm gonna bring him to the stage right now.
So,
My
what's
brother.
up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up,
He
man?
in the building. Man, what's up, bro?
What's up, brother? Thank you for having me, man.
Nah, for sure, man. Thanks for being here, dog. For real. Man, yeah. I want to jump right into it, bro. But before we do, I want to give a special shout out to our sponsors, Czar Wellness. So go to czarwellness.com right now, get your topicals, your gummies, your flowers. And this is THCA. So all over the country, all over the nation, you can get this. It's legal. And we're doing a collab soon. So we about to drop some. So get ready for that. Really excited, for my brand and Czar Wellness as well. So yeah, I'm gonna dive into our guest today. Like I said, entrepreneur, actor, writer, visionary. Um, has done so many great things even as a youth, right? And then he's grown into, somebody that, I've had the opportunity just to be around and grow from. Um, and that's been great. It's helped my growth a lot. When I left the NBA, just having somebody around that, believed in me, and would incorporate me in a lot of what he had going on. So, this is my brother, man. I'm happy to have him on this show. But
I'm happy to
before
be
we
here,
dig in,
man.
nah, for sure, man. But before we dig into all that stuff, man, and unravel that, I like to start in the beginning. I want to talk about the younger you, man, the boy you. What inspired you, that kid version. Who is the kid Ty as a child?
That's a good question. The kid Ty, I always look at it like it's a wonderment. When you're growing up around people, and when you're younger, you care to fit in, right? And you always just want to fit in. And for me, I don't know if it was rebellion, but it's just I knew I couldn't fit in at a certain point in my life, probably like around, I would say, like 8 years old. I knew I didn't fit in, and so from there was this imagination, and this curiosity for the world and this wonderment. When people meet you and they're older, they're like, "Oh, that's an old soul," and that's like the introduction. I believe when you're called that, because you figure out like, what does that mean? Because you're still a child, you're still growing up in the world, you're still learning yourself, and then you have somebody say, "Oh, you're an old soul." And so for me, just figuring that out and figuring out like the person that I wanted to be in the world, um, all the little micro decisions you make are so important as you get older. So the childhood me, it was just I looked at the world from like a very pure lens, and almost like a curious soul that felt creation and felt people, at a high frequency. I always was connected to people. So yeah, I still got that little boy inside of me. I think we all need to keep our child inside of us. Just an older, more mature version of that. So
Right. Where and you grew up in the DMV, but right in the DMV is where you, or where would you spend your childhood?
I grew up in Miami, so
Okay.
I was born in DC. That's
Okay.
where my parents met, and I was raised in Miami. So Miami, I'm like a 305 all day. I really don't
Okay.
know too much about DC. I don't remember it like that. My
Yeah.
sister still lives in DC. However, like Miami is like where I became, I would say, like who I am, and like you discovered like my art and my passion and what it was, and my friendships that I still have to this day.
Now, was Miami the place that you got discovered? How did that come about? You falling into acting.
So in Miami, I was again I was like just a wild boy. Like I would just in school I got good grades, but I was just always very much I was always like super playful. And the way I got discovered, my cousin, it was like my family knew like this kid has something. So my cousin, it started off with being Caribbean, my friends group, so dancing, and they were like, "Oh, so my cousin Janine put me in like talent shows at my elementary school. She like had me audition, so I was like ready. You know what I'm saying? She choreographed the dance, and then that was like Bobby Brown, My Prerogative. That was like the intro. Like, oh, I could do this, right? And then my aunt Rachel kind of was like, oh, you should take pictures and stuff like that. So she would take pictures of me, and then my uncle Chris and like my family, like my older cousins that were very much like my siblings, they would always be like, oh, Ty has something. And then I was walking in the mall one day, and this woman came up to my mom and was like, hey, your son ever thought about modeling? And my mom was like, no. And we just kept walking. And the woman gave my mom the card. So when I went home, I found the card. And at the time I played football, like, you know, little league football. And I just was like, I'm going to mail it to her. So I took it to school. You know, at school, when you learn how to like fill out envelopes, I like put my little picture in there, my school picture, sent it off. And then my mom gets a call, and she's like, how does woman get our information? I was like, she said, do I want to model? I want to do this. So from there, started working locally in Miami. And then there was a program called Voices United that was a nonprofit, and I auditioned for that. And it just started like, I felt like there was a lot of people that saw something inside of me that I didn't really see. And then I just started to meet that opportunity and that potential. So Miami is where I really discovered it. And I went to art school. So then you're in that community, you know what's going on. And then from there, from art school, I went to like a school that everybody dreams to go to, which is called New World School of Arts. And we have like a lot of great alumni that came from there. And then from there, just started moving. And then from there, I got in a ballet company, and I was like a ballet dancer. And I was just like wanting to express myself. And I didn't know that you could ever do it as a career. I didn't know LA or Hollywood existed. I was just like, I mean, I knew it was, but it's like when you're young, you're like, dang,
that's
would
too
I
far
ever
away.
make it in California? You know what I'm saying? And you're like all the way from Miami. And so, yeah, man, just was driven. And from there, just kept with faith, you know, my faith and believing in God and understanding like, oh, I do have something to say, or I do have a purpose in my life. That just kept me, you know, that kept me on my path.
Right. So growing up, you know, how was your relationship with all this going on? Okay, you got this new success as a child. Did you see a shift in your family? Did you see something that, you know, did you become kind of like this catalyst, or was it always? Did everyone kind of have? Because I know for me, right, when I got to the NBA, my position in my family changed. You know, I became, you know, the one everyone looked to. Yeah, you
I
look
know
to.
you're
You
already
for
taller,
everything.
bro. So you're like,
Right, but you're a child, right?
yeah,
You're a child.
yeah.
So how like was that a transition for you?
No, it wasn't really. You know, that's the thing. I've been blessed to have a really supportive family, and even though they didn't understand the arts, you know, my parents were always just like, "Let Ty do Ty." They've always given me a certain liberty, and I've always had a strong identity and love, which I'm very thankful for, because I know a lot of people in the world don't have that. So my parents were very, very supportive, and my success didn't change. Even my family, I have like a lot of aunts and uncles that were, you know, coming from that side of the family where you come from immigrant families. It's like, go to college, become a doctor, lawyer, or get a state job, you know, at least work at the post office or be a nurse or get a stable job. And in my family, there's a lot of lawyers. And so like, but no, my cousins from that I mentioned, Janine, Sandra, Uncle Chris, Aunt Rachel, my auntie Alicia, my Uncle Colin, bless his soul. He was very, very supportive. My grandfather, bless his soul, very supportive. My auntie Christine, like I have really anchored love and foundation. So my parents were like supporting me, especially when I was going to go to LA, when everyone was kind of like, are you sure? My family was just like, we see it happening. We go into his plays. We're going to, you know what I'm saying? We're going to his shows and seeing, you know, this kid's on the stage just doing it. And our family was very like foreign, like, what is this, you know? But as I think sometimes when you move, just like in your career, when you like training people like, yo, he has a skill, like, and they start seeing your gift, people are going to change. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you're changing. So that word is very interesting, because you're right. I'm sure when you were getting NBA, what you're being attached to finances, popularity. Everyone's like, oh, you're kind of like become the savior. And for me, I felt that kind of like around people that wasn't close to me versus like people that are close to me that know me. Because I'm just like Ty. Like when I was growing up on TV, my parents were like, "Yo, make your bed, wash your dishes." That didn't mean anything to them, and it was good because I was able to always stay grounded. And I think that's just because of how you're raised. But I think the people that change are the ones that everybody's going to change. However, the people that change, you can't really be upset at them because you're changing and growing too. The climate is different.
Right. Dope. Yeah. So what, looking back at some of those younger years, what were some of your influences? Like what are some of the people that maybe kind of steered you in your direction? And it don't have to be anybody, famous, but anybody just in your life.
No, you really good at this, man. I ain't know. I thought I was gonna come here and talk about that. I would say my family, bro. Like first and foremost, like my faith. I think faith is something really, really powerful, and it's very, very hard. And when people say doing the work, there's a lot of work to be done. If you're not doing the work within to discover your calling and your purpose, you're always going to stay in a space of like being lost and latching on to different things in your life. So for me, that's been my foundation when I didn't feel understood was, okay, let me go pray about this. Let me go off. And then also like, it's not about being perfect and being, religious. It's just about knowing like, all right, there's something inside of me that I want to share. You know what I'm saying? And we're all blessed with a gift. It's just who's going to open it. We're all blessed with gifts. We're all blessed. I believe we're all geniuses when we're born. I believe we all have this abundance of love and compassion. Now, every situation isn't going to be that. However, if you're alive, it's our goal to kind of discover that. And for me, what inspired me was that abundance of love, and it helped out a lot because that's how I was raised. And so as far as like influences, I don't think it was more so, of course, like my family and is very important to me, and that those morals and understanding my moral compass, that real talk kind of kept me on my path. But then I still have to do the work to even understand that, because you got people in your life that love you or believe in you, but it just doesn't align with you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so for me, I really stay. It starts within. It starts within you, and then you look around and you latch on to that alignment with people around you. And I just feel like, and then you also have people that challenge that and that don't believe in you, and so you're having to fight through your own understanding in life when someone tells you no, you're not going to do it. And when someone tells me no, I'm just like, new opportunity. I'm like, okay, word. Because the no's are going to get you closer to that yes. And you just don't know when that yes is coming. So when I hear a no, I'm like, cool, got it. Cool, got it. And you working, I mean, you understand what it is to be driven and focused, and look at everything you accomplished, bro. And like that, to me, that's like, if you understand that so many people want this idea of power and success, the thing is, to me, it's about being responsible with your gift, being responsible with everything you have. And so for me, that was always my heroes. What I looked to was discovering the true purpose that I have, and that's always evolving. And then looking around, who's in my corner, who believes in me, you know? So really, and of course, there's like artists that inspire me. But I think that, you know, people are human. I can't put so much weight on people at the same time. We can't put too much weight on people because people will fail and people will let you down, you know?
Yeah. So was music always there? You know, you talk about gifts and, you know, gifts you bring, and I know music is something you love as well. Was that something that you've always loved, as well as acting, and could it have gone in either direction for you?
Yeah, music is something that I always vibe with. I just wasn't secure with like singing. You know, I don't sing like the greats or like have the best. You know, when you're a black dude, you gotta have, you know, if you ain't singing at a certain, you know, at a certain whip, you know, if I ain't Usher or Chris Brown, which those are amazing singers, I'm just kind of chilling. But I grew up in musical theater, so I would be singing musicals and hitting those notes and being animated. And it wasn't until before I made Venus is a Boy when I was in a place in my career where I I grew up in it, and my whole career has been interesting because it keeps telling on itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at a point where I was like, okay, I've experienced a lot of great things. Also, I know that in this business, when you want to do all these things, sometimes your team or people around you like just focus on this. And for me, I'm like low key, I'm trying to make furniture. Like there's so many new ideas I have. I don't want to limit myself to one thing. So it started where I was like, I just bought a guitar. My brother's a really, really talented musician, Terrell Golden, and I've watched him just create music. And I decided to buy a guitar just to learn something new because I was like, all right, I grew up in this business. I love acting, love writing, love directing. All these things have been like awesome experiences. I just want something new. So I picked up a guitar and went on YouTube and learned Nirvana chords and was struggling, bro. Like, learn that. But I learned those chords. And then my brother heard me and he was like, yo, that sounds kind of fire. And then we just started exploring and he was writing a lot of the music and I was going in my notes and getting ideas. So the music thing was like just taking a little breather and a break from something that I've been doing for so long and trying something new and not trying to like sound like anybody else and try to be authentic. Because with music, the beautiful thing is that you could just say what you feel and it could be abstract and it doesn't have to make sense. And it's just it's a feeling, and it's done. It's 2 minutes, you know what I'm saying? If that. And with movies, it's like writing it, raising the funding, producing it, casting it. Then it's like 2 years where you're in a hole in a lab and you like editing. So for me, the music came because my soul needed it. It was a form of worship for me. It was a form of trying something new. It was a form of me being like, yo, you could do anything. And I don't even really promote the music like that because it wasn't about that. The music, people have been vibing with it, and I made the mask. I did like all the artwork. So it was, you know what it was, bro? It was like, when you do like a science project and, back in the day had like the 3 panels. Remember? Did you have that in school? The board, right?
Yeah.
And you got the hypothesis. It was just me being like, all right, I love this term British Brooklyn because I spent time in Brooklyn and British is like, we always like there's like a class and a respect and like a sophistication. And so when I came with the idea of British Brooklyn, then that's when I like started playing around with the music. And then I made the mask and it felt like an art project. And then I just like put it into the movie Venus is a Boy and really didn't. And then I did like a short film for it, but I kind of snagged it because it was just experimenting. And I think that's the thing that I miss about when you're young and when you're creating. There's no expectation. You have more freedom. You're not worried about for people to like stuff. You just want to be authentic. And a lot of times when you have some sort of success or idea of success, people love to put you in a situation, in a box for you to do this. And people focus so much on success as far as numbers and money and all these things. Mm-hmm. And granted, they're valid, like that's important. To me, I focus on the success within, and the success within is the output, the evolution, the growth. So music it just came to me. It was super, super like I needed something for my soul to learn something different. And this was like a project and I love it. So now I'm like in the studio with my brother and my brother is so talented. I can't wait for people to hear his music, but he's been experimenting with me, and we've been just been, and it's a way to bond with my brother and create with my brother and communicate on a deeper level that sometimes people in a conversation don't feel like hearing. They're like, bro, that's too deep. You can just jot it down. So yeah, man, it was I'm giving you long answers, right? Because I like to talk. So I'm just gonna
hey, that's why I'm asking you though.
You can chop it up, you know what I'm saying?
That's why I like it. Hey man, that's why
it's that random Gemini, bro. It's that random Gemini feelings.
Nah, for sure though. We gotta get it out, bro. But we it's a lot of good perspective, man, and understanding your journey and your philosophy is important, bro. You gotta, we're gonna dissect this and get our gems through it. But I know you talk a lot about, and I know you talk a lot about self-love. How's that journey going for you? Your self-love journey?
Man, it's hard. It's hard. I believe people don't admit that to themselves so much because they look for other people to love them. They look for people to validate them. And I grew up in this business. So validation is like, when you grow up in this business, it's so interesting because people have like this stigma of it. And for me, it's made me a better human being, real talk. It's made me very conscious of myself in ways where when you're developing, you're looking for people to love you. You know, when you're a kid on set, you think everyone cares that you have to go to the bathroom or like, what do you want to eat? You know, and giving you breakfast. And so it was like, no, when I had the download, I was like, yo, no. Like, I'm here for a job. Like, these people, it's not like they care about me. They want to be my friend. I'm here for a job. It's really not necessarily like are nice to me because they want to be nice to me. I'm here for a job. So it hit me quick that I was like, let me be mad professional and let me talk to everyone on set. That's the only reason why I feel like I got into directing and writing, because I was the actor sitting out there, you know, in my dressing room. I was always talking to like the crew, the extras. And to your question, the reason why for me the self-love aspect has been super important is because we ignore it so much in our life. We ignore the value that we have. And granted, I always keep in mind that life is vast. Life is huge. Sometimes life don't make sense. Sometimes things are happening in your life and you're conflicted and you're like, yo, why is this happening? Or why is this? And my whole thing is like, as long as like you're here and present and the people you love are alive and you work through what you need to work through and you have that breath, that's where you have to like remind yourself where self-love is important. And because I think the issue is that in the world, to me, there's two main emotions that have mad, like, it's like an octopus of many different tentacles. So you have love and then you have fear. And it's so easy to vibrate in the space of fear because everything around us, afraid to be you, afraid to be this, afraid to be your full self. Identity is attached to fear. You know, the way we dress, if I wear this name brand, I'm now tapped in with this crew. So I don't really, I fit in. The love aspect is saying, you know what? I am here. I am in the now. I am present. If someone don't like me, it's okay. If someone does like me, it's okay. But what am I saying to myself when I'm at home? How am I waking up? What am I thinking about? And you know it, bro. Like in this business, you experience so much rejection. You experience so much where even if you're at the top, right? There's still like a machine around that to make sure you stay at the top. And every decision you make, every micro decision you make is important. So the self-love to me is not like a gimmick, right? Like you can't go to yoga and meditate and be like, oh, I'm practicing self-love. Self-love is like goes into a lot of deep places, like getting into shadow work, you know? Shadow work growing up. I don't know if you're familiar with shadow work. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Like it's a term that's been thrown around, but in Venus is a Boy, when I wrote about it, I was like, yo, if we all were to like tap into our greatest self, the things that make us mad unique are the things sometimes we hide. And we hide those things because they're unique and they're not like everybody. Everybody doesn't have those things. And there's so many nuances to being a human being. So the self-love for me taps into a practice that if you're in my life, that's what we work on. We work on just in friendship. It's like, no, let's not talk down about yourself. Okay, this issue, let's be solution based, because anything you need to do in life to make yourself feel loved, then you need to be present to do that. The thing is, you're never going to know how to love yourself if you're not really being your full self. And a lot of people are chasing the wrong tribe. So you're upset to be a part of a tribe, a friendship, a relationship, to be in love. But if someone doesn't want to be with you, or if this job or position doesn't want you, or this restaurant doesn't want you to eat there, then you have to literally be like, okay, word. So I don't need to be there. Because I can't put myself and my value or my identity on this outside source. I have to move in love and be in gratitude and be like, okay, cool. You don't want me for this, good, because I want to excel at this team. I want to excel in this movie. I want to excel in this relationship. So once you on that vibe of self-love, to me, it's like you connect with the divine. You connect in a spiritual place where you can feel like you can do anything you want to do if you just tap into that. And I've been in my life, in my body, fully in my body. Most people aren't fully in their body. And I'm not always full in my body. The thing is, I know when I am. And tell me, bro, when you know you're full in your body, you able to do. Look at all the things you're doing, Larry. And that's why you inspire me so much, bro. Because you're in your body. You're like, yo, I'm a model at Miami Beach. I'm gonna have a podcast. I'm gonna play basketball. When I met you, that's one of the reasons why I really rocked you. I was like, yo, this dude inspires me because there's no limits to him. But I feel like there's no limits to him because you understand self-love without attaching to a brand, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't look at it as like it ain't easy, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like it works. I feel like it
Yeah,
gives you some.
no, for sure. No, I think the self love component is huge. Like you said, it's very complex and it's a personal journey. I think for me, doing what I had to do for myself, um, set me on a path uh, of discovery. You know what I mean? And I was able to unlock and open a lot of doors, and I still am, because of the choice that I made. And like you said, it was scary. It was I was deemed crazy. It was a lot going on, but I knew for me it was the best choice. And uh, I think the fear, the psychology behind it, I think, is the fear of being isolated, right? The fear of being um, abandoned.
Mhm.
No human. We're packed animals. I say that all
Mhm.
the time. We're like birds. We're like wolves. We wanna be around each other. We need hugs. We need kisses. We need affection. So we will lie to ourselves in order to fit in. That's like a natural instinct that we have to understand. So if we understand that, then we start digging into social norms and morals and why we attach ourselves to certain things. And if it really identifies with ourselves, like if it's our real truth, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then what does that mean? Do you have a religion on this side that dictates different things? So there's a lot of different factors that in this game that we play of identity, um, which is very interesting, man, and dope. I have a question for you, man. I want to ask
Mhm.
you,
Yeah.
if you could create any law, what would it be?
Oh, this is good. I ain't gonna get too political here. I ain't gonna get too deep. Let me do this thing, bro. You got a lot of secrets. I don't do a lot of podcasts, bro. That's why, because
No, I'm not trying.
yeah,
No, I'm not.
no. Listen. I don't do a lot of podcasts because I just
Right,
be like
right.
in the zone, right? And there's
Yeah,
certain
yeah, yeah.
people like you. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go here. I'm excited. I'm gonna talk to Larry because I already talked to you on the phone. We just gonna talk,
Right.
but you don't ask me these questions when we talk on the phone. So I gotta be like, um, you know what? This is a very simple rule because I got like 10, right?
Uh-huh.
When you catch eye contact with someone, you have to smile. That will be my introduction to like, because I'm not really a fan. Like I feel like there's laws are important, rules are important too. I feel like that's a safe law that when you catch
Hmm.
eye contact with someone, you have to smile. You,
Yeah.
you think so? No.
Why does that mean so much to you personally?
Because I do it. No, I'm just no,
But
'cause I do it.
when someone doesn't do it, what should be the penalty?
They have to say hello. My name is such and such.
They have to introduce themselves.
They have to introduce themselves.
Yeah.
Because listen, you know why? Because anywhere around the world you go, a smile does not need a language. It does not need a native tongue. A smile is like universal. And for me, when I catch eye contact with people, if it's a nod, if it's a smile, that gesture opens up so much. And mind you, bro, like sometimes I do it and people don't smile back. And I don't even, I mean, I think you got to get over that stuff. Like you hold the door for people, like it's really not even about other people. It's about how you deal with it. And for me, when I smile, especially like when I'm smiling at someone and they smile back when you say, "Oh, how you doing today?" And some people just take a breath and be like, "Thank you." Like that feeling for me, bro, is like so necessary. Like especially if I go to the grocery, I hop around to 3 grocery stores and like that those interactions. When I come in there, I like give the security guard a hug, like this and that, because it's a space where we can do that. It's community, and like you said, we're packs, right? So we look for community. We look to be a part of other people. So it's like that smile, bro. You could go anywhere around the world.
Hmm.
You could go anywhere. I bet you animals feel the smile. Like that vibration,
Yeah,
that
they do.
frequency
Right.
is to me, if that was a law, to me, that's a okay, cool law. Because I'm not saying you gotta be friends with the person, but if you don't smile, then you have the punishment. The punishment is you gotta go up and shake the person's hand and say, "Yo,
Yeah.
um, what's up? This is my name is," you
Right.
know. I
Dang, I
think
forgot to smile, man. My bad. Yeah.
huh?
You gotta be like, dang, I forgot to smile, man. My name
What,
Larry, bro.
what would be your law?
That's a good one. I heard a great one. And it was if you had a grievance, or you hated someone or a culture, you had to live with that culture for 3 months.
Oh,
So that
that's
was
a really good one.
yeah, I like that one. It gave experience. I think law should be based around not so much punishment, but more about um experience, perspective.
Yep.
Um, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah,
No, you
yeah.
know what?
Not to get too political, but yeah.
No, but you're absolutely right, because the thing is, when we talk about the two emotions in the world, love and fear, and understanding how
Hmm.
paralyzing fear is,
Hmm.
and understanding how powerful love is, those are really strong things. Like, you post something negative through social media, it would like go off. Like,
Right,
it's just natural humanity. We're low key nosy. Everybody want to look out their window, or just like when
right,
you're young kids, you're like, yo, they're gonna fight, they're gonna fight. And I get it. Like, I understand that, bro. It's not like I'm a saint. For me, it just never made me feel good. And I don't think it really makes anybody feel good. But to your point,
right.
we're we have to like teach people how we want to be treated. We also learn how we're being treated. And I had this experience, to your point, when you're punishing someone. I want to say something real deep, but like not deep, but I had this concept, but I'm gonna break it down to something simple, because I think your thing will be going off. They're like, what did he say? This idea I had. So I went to go talk to these students
Mhm.
at the school in Milwaukee, and there were the kids in there were like rowdy, and Milwaukee's an interesting place. I've never been there before, and one of the kids was like being mad rowdy, and apparently he called the girl out of her name. So
Mhm.
while we're there, before the talk, the teacher's like calling the principal and like, you gotta leave, and like, what did you do? And we're sitting there awkward like this, and I'm just kind of chilling, and they just put him out the office, like just took him out there, and I was like. So then they introduced us, and they're all talking. And I asked the teacher, I was like, yo, where's the kid that did that? And she was like, oh, no, he has to go see the principal. I was like, well, do you think that's fair that you're doing that? Like, he probably should be in this moment. He has like the actors of this movie here. He may get inspiration. Like, I understand you have to punish him, but maybe you could do it after. Maybe you could, but let him experience this, because we're here for a day, for 2 hours. So she
Right.
was like, well, I don't know. And I was like, I don't mean to step in your shoes. Like, if you don't want to do that, that's fine. So then she's like, okay, I'll go get him. So she brought him back in there, and I play this exercise when I go talk to students. And I was like, basically, I was like, yo, if, okay, in this room, I'm going to give everybody $1,000,000. I want you to think about it. And I want you to tell me what you're going to do with the $1,000,000. And everyone came with their thing. And this dude, the one they kicked out the room, had a whole plan. I mean, this kid was brilliant. And I said, you see, you were going to punish him and send him into the room with the principal, suspend him, this and that. Because what he did wasn't right. The
Mhm.
thing is, if you let him experience this,
Right.
he's not going to be triggered. And that idea, why he's calling a woman this, is rooted. It's not, he doesn't mean that. Like, people hate,
Mhm.
bro, we depend on people's sanity. People naturally don't want to hate. It's just a
Mhm.
protective thing. It's like, yo, let me
Right.
protect myself.
Fear.
The kid
Right.
was brilliant, bro. And I was like, he was brilliant. That 1 hour experience. Then after he talked to me, I was like, yo, man, you want to do music? You got to do that. He's like, yeah, but I don't have the money. I said, listen, the way you broke down $1,000,000, you had it all, he had it plotted out beyond everyone. So to your point, if there's a dispute, if there's some kind of chaos, I believe that law is kind of important, because if it's racism, if it's this and that, if it's hate, if it's whatever, even like if you look, I don't want to get political, but that to me, your law is something that I believe we all need,
Mhm.
because if you haven't experienced any sort of like support, and you've always been alienated, that young
Right.
boy is always told, you bad, you this and that. And I bet you, if someone was to say, you know what, you're gonna be like, call it out. Like, so how long you want to do that for? Like, how is this for attention? Well, let me show you how this. Come over here and learn this. And I hope
Mhm.
that boy's super successful right now. I hope he went to college, and I hope everything he told me he's experiencing right now, because we're so hard on it, individuals. We're so
Mhm.
hard on each other.
Right. That's something that we we express and we talk about a lot too. As black men, as successful black men, and being vulnerable. The power of being vulnerable. You speak about that a lot, man. I think I just want you to kind of speak about your relationship with vulnerability.
I think I'm vulnerable, bro. No, I think,
No, no.
you mean like my relationship with being vulnerable to your question.
Yeah, I mean, even to the sense of like your last film, right? Venus is a Boy. The character you played in that, the vulnerability you shared on screen, the message that you're trying to um convey through vulnerability. Because I'm the same way. I feel like I'm on that same mission with you, and I learned that being vulnerable actually empowered me and empowered people around me. But it's when you think about it, it's like, damn, am I opening it up to be a victim? Am I opening it up for people to isolate me? Am I opening it up to be scrutinized? There's so much comes with it, but then when you actually cross over that line of vulnerability, you feel empowered, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
yeah, you feel empowered, man, and you feel like others are now being empowered and being vulnerable, and that helps because like that wall that we put up is fear.
Mm-hmm.
We're afraid of what's on the other side of it. So I mean, just talk about that a little bit. How you kind of position it in your film, Tribeca, how that was, and then what's kind of the future of what you got going and what you're developing your message through these films you're making.
Yeah, vulnerability is something that is difficult, and especially if you're a man, and then don't get into being a man of color, or it just goes, and then it goes vulnerability, then masculinity, then how men are conditioned, and vulnerability for me has always been easy. I just didn't know it'd be hard once I put it out there in the world. And you're right. When you're vulnerable, you're putting yourself in a position to either have expectation for people to meet your vulnerability or be judged for it or be called too sensitive. And
Mhm.
I've been called too sensitive for a while. When people tell me that, I'm like, yeah, but I get paid for being sensitive. Like I could write, like I have to flip it because I feel like the world isn't sensitive enough. And
Right.
the idea of my relationship with vulnerability to me breaks down, I think you reference is breaking down walls, because if I'm in this life and we're in this life, I want to experience all of it as far as being my most truthful self versus believing a lie. And so many people believe their lies. So the idea of not being vulnerable, protecting your space, this and that, I get it. Like I've had to learn the opposite. I've had to learn to be not as vulnerable and still remain in a space where I'm able to show up. I'm able to honor people. I'm able to respect. If I'm like my close peoples, my day ones are like, yo, that's a little bit, you being a little petty, or you being like this and that. And those, as I get more vulnerable with myself and not care about what I'm getting and receiving from other people, I feel like I'm being more vulnerable. Like, yo, this is my truth. This is how I move. And becoming a business person has really helped me balance that artistic, reactive, unconventional vulnerability, where it's a little bit, I'm an artist, like that. You hear a lot of people be able to express stuff, I'm just an artist, like I could do whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but there's other people that you got to coexist with. And
Right.
I at times I've realized that being vulnerable and having that relationship with vulnerability, I've tend to project that on people and situations. And
Mhm.
that's been me learning how to kind of pull back and create boundaries and know how to protect my heart at the same time still being vulnerable enough. Has been like, that's been like a secret sauce for me, that I feel like it has some like superpower elements to it with yourself. And when I chose to put that in films, it was me watching films and seeing, not seeing enough people like me on screen and men that were vulnerable. Because
Right.
the idea of toxic masculinity is this huge topic, but there's so many dimensions to it too.
Mhm.
That we're all male and female, and we're balanced, meaning like we're not all male and female, but there's a balance and there's a coexist of like energy, right? So the
Mhm.
thing is, there, as boys, when we grow up, that there's a, as we start getting older and start going outside and sweating and like playing outside, there's this kind of like the if you don't have a great foundation of an older man in your life, or uncle or brother or cousin, you kind of learn how to be a man through your friendships and the idea of what you think masculinity is. And so you're picking up things as you go. When you're a woman, and when you're a little girl and you start growing into a woman, there's a patience, of sensitivity, of emotions, of like, okay, she's becoming a woman now. You get to stay home today for school. There's protection. And so when you have like, and that's why I feel like women are so amazing, and women inspire me. And I have so many amazing women in my life that help me become a better man, because their sensitivity is like, their vulnerability is what I align to. And for me, even being a man, saying, yo, I want to have a great balance, because the world should have a great balance. We should all have a little bit of both, because that's how we honor each other. Like, you honor people by them being balanced enough to be vulnerable, and also be when they need to be strong and when they need to feel safe. And so with being a man in the world, all these ideas that we have in our head on what a man is, I've always wanted to discover like what it is to really be a man, like what it is. You know, when you're growing up, if you don't play sports, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, you work in a very alpha male energy. But I bet you some of your most fun times in your conversations when y'all got off the court and no one ever see that side, because people see the game face. But it's like that community of bonding, and women know how to bond and really connect and be vulnerable to each other and like have each other's back. And with men, it's like, it's very difficult for us to find that rhythm. There's like 3 things that we can mention where it's like, I'll rock with you, you cool. But the thing is, there is a brotherhood that kind of I believe in, that's just like, yo, man, like, let's really try to iron sharpens iron, and be discover what it is to be a man through having people feel safe around us. You know, making sure that our women and our children are taken care of and safe. And that doesn't mean that a woman can't do that. It's just like, if we understand our purpose of what being a man is vulnerable, a man is responsible, a man is loyal, a man is respectful. We may fall short, you know. The fact is that the idea for me to put that in films and start exploring, like, outside of like what people are putting in movies, you can tell me what movies you see where we're really able to explore that. Like, we're able to explore masculinity deeper than just like, oh, you know, they got like these archetypes of like male figures. I feel like we have to stand up more for women. I feel like, and listen, it goes both ways, right? Women have to stand for us, we have to stand up for them. But the support, there's a purpose of us being here. There's a balance of us being here. And as life is evolving and humanity is evolving, you have a lot of people growing into who they are, and it may not fit in other people's perception. But as long as people are happy, and as long as people are discovering who they are, and they're not giving up, you have to support that too. So we're living in a world where it's like, it's beyond gender now. It's literally about like respect, equality, love, support, strength. And I'm not even being like hippie, you know, butterfly sunshine. I mean, I think it's that simple to create harmony in the world. It's not because if people want to
you right?
What? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Where are you at? You see me?
I can see you too.
Sorry. Damn, why I can't see you? Hold on. Where you at?
Yeah, we can still see you up here.
Oh man, where you at? Hold on. Yo, this is like how I make movies, bro, and I'm not even tech. I gotta get my tech game up. Like, real talk. Hold on.
It's all good. I'm gonna drop some of these comments.
Okay.
Marcus.
Let me see. Yo, how I get back on this thing, son? Yo, son. Hold on. Dude, so you see me right now.
Yeah, we see you right now.
And I don't see you. Okay.
Well, I'm dropping these comments though.
Okay. Is it Firefox? I should have turned my phone off. If my screen was up, how do I get back? How do I get back to? I'm pressing the StreamYard studio.
Okay.
You know what? Let me just cut
the link.
Send me.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do. We had post for this movie, bro, and literally, I was like, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna slide this in here. I'm gonna slide this in here today and talk to my boy and chop it up. This is a great conversation, man. I appreciate that. Okay, it says homepage. It says homepage is not. Let me see. where Chrome. My apologies there. Oh, got it.
What's up, Clip? We good? We back on here?
My
Yes,
bad, my
sir.
bad, my bad, my bad, my bad.
Yeah,
Yo!
we're good. We're just dropping these
Oh,
comments. There
I
you
know
go.
it. Oh, this is nice. What's up, y'all? This is like facts.
Yeah,
Discipline.
cool, cool.
Uh, yeah.
So yeah, man.
Yeah. So
So
now,
yeah,
so if so, my goal is like to, and I've been writing movies. Like writing movies for me has been therapy. It's been great. Right? I think everybody should write. I believe everyone can write a dope movie, a dope story. It doesn't have to be intricate. We all have phones. We all have like editing. Everything is accessible. And making these films and going from a space on like being on TV, then selling TV shows and this and that. I have so many ideas that I also want to sharpen my skill level. So when I do get the opportunity to create something that fits within the ecosystem, then I could do that. The thing is, I have to develop as a person first and foremost. And from that, you develop as creativity. And I feel like we have more stories where we take characters, we take human beings and allow them to be their full selves. It doesn't, that we can take away the weight of this idea of like these labels that we give each other, or like this gender battle, or toxic masculinity. Like everything has become a brand now. So even when you say something, even like the word trauma now is a brand. It's like I could come up with a
right,
shirt say trauma, and they're like, yo, that's
right,
fire. You know what I'm saying?
right,
I think that it's so, for me, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. That's a quote that I always go by, because as a creative person, which I know you are, it's not easy to make things complicated. And making things complicated is fun. And then contradictions come out, and then you just rocking with like exploring all those ideas. However, the simplicity of it, if you look at any religion or if you look at any foundation, when we're born into this world, we're beautiful and filthy. We're like these babies that are attached to life force, our mother, this cord, and then we come out and we're bloody, but we're like these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful things. Then we get cleaned up and like we're beautiful, and then everyone comes and sees us at the hospital, and they're catered, they just giving love, and you can't leave a baby alone by itself. It wouldn't survive. So we're these beautiful, beautiful things. And then we get older and we're babies, we learn, oh, I cry, I get this, or I do this, I get this. And slowly but surely we start to learn a certain level of independence. And we learn this independence, and we learn that manipulation is not appropriate in adulthood. However, at the same time, we're still beautiful, filthy creatures, beautiful, filthy creatures. And when we give each other that space to be like, you know what, naturally, if you and I are friends, we're not going to see completely eye to eye. We may see like stuff eye to eye. If we're vulnerable with each other, and say for instance, we bump heads with something, we both have to be adults and be grown men and be like, yo, bro, listen, my bad, I barked at you. I barked at you because the way I do things, or the way, and it's like, okay, cool. Now you're getting to know the real person, not the representative, not the mask we wear. And that's if we all can get there. And you're not going to get there with everyone. You feel me? However, when you do meet a person, people come into your life for seasons, reasons, or a lifetime. So when I meet someone, it's a reason, and we're like, I'm trying to work on it, because sometimes like when I meet people, it's like, all right, we had 100. Like we had 100, and then the percentage is gonna go down. And then I've been thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, should I meet people at 50%? But then it's like, nah, because I like to be like, I'm like, nah, we can go at 100. Like I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt of everything. And if and you're a reason there's a reason I met you. So let's discover the reason. And then there may be a season I meet you. But then if it's a lifetime, I'll never know. And as cliche as it sounds, if we start honoring people like that, then we'll get to a space of vulnerability, and we'll get to a place in life where we can honestly just like help each other be better, help each other build, like write songs together, build buildings, come up with ideas. Like at this point in life, Larry, if you're not friends with someone that's helping you, build yourself up and be involved in your family, you're not going to rock with them, right? Because you have to be responsible for all you have. Nobody can be a liability in your life. If you're a liability in my life, then why are we hanging out? So all of these ideas that I've been putting into movies, it's been really just doing the work within and trying to be like, how do you become a successful human being? And then the creativity part, I think it's with technique is easy. You know what I'm saying? You just got to meet the right people and like be a part of the right ecosystem,
So what does the future look like, in that sense, as far as what you're creating now? Do you look to build a company? Do you want to, transition into something else, or is film what you want to do for the rest of your life?
I want to do it all for us, man. No, I want to make movies. I pray and I hope I just continue to get better and make movies. What's on the futures? So the first film that's coming out of my production company is called Thank You Music and Film, and it's my brother, myself, and our buddy Todd. He's like a third. I've known him since he was 12. Since I was 12, and we made our first movie together. Thank You Music and Film is like a production that I feel like everything that we produce is based in gratitude, and music and film is what makes the world go round. And so my brother is a really talented musician, and I've invested in film. And so we kind of like come together in gratitude. And our whole goal is we did Venus as a Boy together. My brother scored it and did all the music. And then with this movie we just did in Paris called Love Me in Paris, it's our first movie out where it's like it's our stamp of DNA. And so want to definitely do movies and just keep being blessed with opportunities and working with really creative people and expand outside. I mean, making a movie in Paris and never been to Paris, don't know French. That was like the illest experience for me. Like, talking about self-love is like the movie's called Love Me in Paris because that's what I had to do. And if you've been to Paris and you know French people, I love French people. And the reason why I love them so much is because they don't have time for no BS. And so when you're there, if you don't know how to ask for a coffee, if you don't know how to say anything in French, or at least make effort, then you're really out there alone. And then making your art out there with an independent film, I carried it basically on my back. So that movie is going to be our kickoff. And we have a bunch of like movies as a biopic we want to do. There's musicals. All I do is write. Like up here on my board, we want to break into TV. We're doing music. We're doing a soundtrack for Love Me in Paris. I sound like one of those dudes that's like, yo, we doing this. But nah, it's like stuff that
that's good though. Yeah.
Cooking is a really big thing in my life. So we're having this idea of doing like this, getting into cooking and lifestyle. Like I told you, I'm starting to make furniture. And so that's something that I want to do. So Thank You Music and Film is an introduction for me to continue doing what I want to do with my brother, because him and I we both have a unique perspective. And from that, there's like, definitely want to get into the community with nonprofits and just create with people and like tell stories of people that may have never thought they could. I feel like a lot of creatives out there, there's kind of like, they're out there, but they're not being discovered. And I want to be able to get to a point where I can discover like real raw talent and raw artists. And at the same time, just doing the work to get there. So definitely for the future, I really pray for abundance and like clarity and becoming like just a human being. We talk about self-love, but it's a joke, but just becoming a human being that is purposeful in the world and can focus on the greater good. And for some people that may be boring, or some people that may, be like, oh, yeah, but it's like, what else am I going to do? And then, in that process, some great art and some great creative stuff comes out and you connect with people. And that term, like fans, has always been like, it's like fans/friends, but it's like people that have rocked with me from beginning of times, because I haven't even hit my peak yet. I'm still exploring, and that's good because you can get a lot of, you could get a lot of accolades. You could get a lot of like potential, you could have a lot of potential to be successful, that term. But if you're not healthy enough to deal with it or responsible enough to deal with it, you're not really going to enjoy it. So as long as I can focus on like having fun and having mad fun, working with people I love, doing cool stuff and collaborating and growing, I can have fun, and hopefully people connect to it, and hopefully people support what we're doing. Because this movie I'm putting out, I'm really gonna need people's support. I'm really gonna need to be like, yo, like there's not too many people that are investing their own money and aligning themselves with really, really great people. Like in this last year through this movie, I've met so many people, and they're not even living in America. I met somebody that is so supportive and aligned with my vision, but you would never think that we were friends, So these micro decisions that you make in life, where everyone looked at me like, yo, you're going to Paris to make a movie? Like, why are you doing that? Like, that doesn't make sense. And I'm like, yeah, but I look up a year later, I'm in post right now, putting the movie together, taking it overseas and exploring that audience.
Right.
And so to me, it's like, there's no limits. Just like you don't believe there's no limits. It's just like expansion and connecting and like really getting more into my body so I could be a part of the movement, whatever that movement looks like, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Now you looking back, because we going, we're not gonna be too long, but I got some more questions for you. I want to
You
definitely
said
ask
2 hours. You said two. No,
you.
you said 2 hours.
Nah, I go like we gonna talk, but I want to
Uh,
just looking back at your career, you worked with Shia LaBeouf, you worked with Janet Jackson, you've done a lot of things on your own as well. What's been some of your favorite, I guess, some of your favorite times or your favorite people you worked with?
I would say everyone had a special thing because when I got into this business, bro, I was so present. I was just like happy to be there. So everything. I think Janet Jackson video was probably got me open to be like, yo, because I mean, I went to this audition where I was like, thought I was gonna be like doing hip hop behind Janet, and there's like a line full of dudes, all races. And when you audition for things, usually there's just everyone look like me. So I'm like, yeah, but I'm like every race and every. So I'm going there and I'm like, and I go into the room and they're like, what would you do if you open up the door and saw Janet Jackson? I just did an expression. It was like, cool, left. And then get a call. And they were like, we want to see you. And I was like, yo, and I was supposed to go back to LA in a week. My parents were like, all right, that's it. You got to come back to LA. And I went to the callback. There was like 4 dudes there. And I'm just sitting there chilling. And then I go do my thing. And I'm like, and I didn't know I just like open up the door and I like to see Janet. And then I went, did it, walked out. And that night I get the call by my guardian that was taking care of me. And he's like, so how'd it go? I'm like, shout out to Anthony Stafford. He's like a big bro. I grew up in Miami, but he was like, so how'd it go? I was like, man, I don't want to talk about it. Like, it's all good. He goes, you think you did good? I'm like, man, come on. You like, yeah, just, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, oh, because you got it. And I was like, I got it. And he's like, yeah. So I had to figure out, my mom had to fly back to LA. And then I go to this fitting and I don't know anything what the video is about. And so I go over and the wardrobe lady's like, oh, this is going to be fun. I was like, what do you mean? She goes, do you know what you're doing in the video? I said, no. So she takes me over to like the board. And I'm like, I've been in LA for like a month and a half. Like I miss my family. And I'm looking at this board. I'm like, wait, that's me. That's me. And they're like, yeah. And then I get to the set and I'm just like, just coasting. And the whole thing I'm thinking is like, okay, Janet Jackson. All right, cool. Like keeping it cool. Like, let me meet Janet Jackson. And then what's crazy is that they didn't tell me. They were like, oh yeah, we want you to meet Janet. She can't wait to meet you. And I was like, all right. And then didn't meet her. And then I'm working with her stand-in, and I'm like doing the scene with the stand-in. And then all of a sudden, like, they're all right, Ty. And they're like, okay, you ready? And we're gonna do another rehearsal. And they open it up and the camera's on. It was really Janet. And I literally was like, gave like such an expression because I'm like, yo, I'm a kid from Miami. Yeah. And I looked, and then like they said cut, and everyone just started laughing. And she gave me a hug and she goes, I'm so happy you're doing this. And then it was the best, amazing 3 days that I experienced. And then from there, that's when Disney called, and that's when I started the journey of like realizing like, okay, I could do this. But that set a tone, and everything else from working with Shia, which is like a little brother to me, was like amazing. Like every job, man, has been a blessing. I've just been a student. Life is education. Love is education, and I love doing this so much that I just literally got to. Every like experience I've worked on has just been that nuance that helps me like get better and sharper, Mm-hmm. I'm giving you real long answers.
Nah, we love it, bro.
Is it annoying a little bit?
Nah. Okay. It's actually been perfect, bro. We coming up on the hour. Yeah, dog. Really been enjoying it, dog. I mean, man, it's been dope. I learned some more about my brother today, so I'm happy. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to everything you got going. Everything you're gonna do in the future. I know it's just gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger for you, man, as you continue on this road. Nah, for sure, man. And then you've done so much already, man. Real talk. There's so much to already be proud of yourself for. So definitely want to give you your flowers today as well as tomorrow, man. So
you too. Thank you, man. I honor you, brother. Like everything. I'm always inspired by what you're doing.
Nah, me
Real
too, bro.
talk.
Iron sharp iron. Iron sharp iron, man. But y'all heard it here, man. On Sanders
Yeah.
Says. It's been a great episode today.
Yep.
I'm gonna let Ty go. I'm gonna get him off the stage and I'm gonna finish up with the guests.
Yes.
Peace, bro. We're gonna get a
Thank
part
you.
two. We're gonna part two when you drop the film and the
Love me
next
in
film.
Paris.
So
You gotta come to the premiere, bro. Come to Paris.
hey, send the tickets. I got the passport. We on the way.
Come to
That's all you gotta
Paris,
say.
bro.
That's all you gotta say, bro. We on the way.
Much love, everybody. Thank you for hanging out.
Nah, for
Talk
sure.
to you. All right. Peace.
Ty Hodges. Y'all heard it here. Amazing show. Thank you all for being here today, all my guests. Shout out to Bugatti Zoe. Shout out to Jonathan. Shout out to Team Green. Shout out to Marcus. Shout out to Raza. Shout out to Czar Wellness. Shout out to Lou. Shout out to everybody who tuned in. Really appreciate y'all for spending this time with us today, man. You could have been anywhere in the world, literally anywhere in the world, but you're here, spend some time with me. Got to know our guests. It's been awesome. Another special shout out to Czar Wellness. Get your topicals, your gummies, your flowers, anything you need. THCA, real certified gas. Don't get it twisted. All around the nation. So we're gonna finish up right now. Love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Have a great Monday. And catch us on X after this for the after party. Peace.